So, when you picture a private jet, what comes to mind? Luxury, right? Speed? For sure. But what if I told you that one of the most comfortable business jets out there actually has the soul of a battle-tested fighter? Yeah, you heard that right. We're diving into Dassault Aviation today. And believe me, they're way more than just an aircraft company. They are a core piece of France's national power and a hotbed of technological innovation. And this quote from their CEO, Eric Trappier, really hits the nail on the head. He's talking about national sovereignty. So right from the top, this isn't just about selling planes. It's about giving a country the power to act on its own. And that one idea, that's the DNA. It's in everything they build, from their famous Rafale fighter all the way to their top-of-the-line business jet, the Falcon 10X.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at their deep roots in defense, that legacy of sovereignty. Then we'll see exactly how that military DNA makes its way into their Falcon business jets. After that, we'll get into the digital revolution they basically invented. Then we'll see how it all culminates in the absolutely incredible Falcon 10X. And to wrap it up, we'll look at how they're building the future of aviation.
All right, let's jump right in with that legacy of sovereignty. I mean, to really get how a company can create something like the Falcon 10X, you first have to understand the sheer scale of their experience. We're talking about a company that's been a major player in aviation for over 100 years. They've built their reputation everywhere, from the heat of battle to the executive runway. And this number, wow, this really puts that century of work into perspective. Over 10,000 aircraft, delivered to 90 different countries. This is no small-time shop. This is a global industrial powerhouse. Think about it. Every single one of those planes is a lesson learned, a design tweaked and perfected. It's a masterclass in the art of flight over and over again. So check this out. This chart perfectly shows the two sides of Dassault. On one hand, you've got 1,000 military aircraft out there in active service, really forming the backbone for air forces all over the globe. But then, look at this. More than double that number, over 2,100 Falcon jets are flying executives and VIPs. It's this really fascinating mix of pure power and high-end productivity. Which leads us to the real heart of the matter, right? How on earth does building a fighter jet help you build a better business jet? This is where Dassault's whole approach, it's just different from everyone else. And this picture, well, it really says 1,000 words, doesn't it? You can just feel that deep hand-in-glove relationship they have. This isn't your typical we'll build what you order kind of deal. No, this is a true partnership. They're sharing tech, they're sharing expertise, and most importantly, they're sharing that life or death, mission-critical mindset. It's in that fire that their engineering genius is really forged. So here's the crazy part. You've got these two totally different worlds, but they feed into each other. Think about it. A fighter jet, it needs insane agility and has to work perfectly in the absolute worst conditions. A business jet, it needs to be comfortable, efficient, and able to get into tricky airports. So what does Dassault do? They take the lessons from the fighter world, things like advanced aerodynamics and rock-solid reliability, and bake them right into their business jets. And this is the secret sauce. Seriously, it's not just a nice marketing line, it's how they actually operate. The very same engineers with the very same tools in the very same buildings are designing both the Rafale fighter jet and the Falcon 10X. So just let that sink in. Every Falcon jet starts its life with military-grade precision built in, with this fundamental understanding of what it takes to make a plane that simply cannot, under any circumstances, fail. Okay, but this whole fusion of military and civilian tech, it got a massive boost from another revolution that, believe it or not, Dassault also started. We're going decades now, and they didn't just change how they built planes. They ended up changing how the entire world designs pretty much any complex product you can think of.
So, you might not have heard of CATIA, but I guarantee you've seen its work. The car you drive, the phone in your pocket, the buildings all around us, there's a very good chance they were designed using it. And the wild part is, Dassault created this 3D software themselves just so they could design their fighter jets. It was so groundbreaking that it took over the world, became the industry standard, and even led to a whole new sister company, Dassault Systems. Fast forward to today, and that digital DNA has evolved into something they call the 3D experience platform. The easiest way to think about it is like a virtual twin. Literally every single piece of the aircraft, from one tiny rivet to the whole wing, is designed, tested, and even flown in a perfect digital world before anyone even thinks about cutting a piece of metal. This gives them this unbelievable level of precision and efficiency, all the way from the first drawing to keeping the plane flying for decades.
So what do you get when you mix 100 years of military know-how with 40 years of being at the cutting edge of digital design? Well, you get this.
the Falcon 10X. This is the plane where all that history, all that technology, all that DNA comes together in one absolutely stunning package. Let's start with what it's like to be inside. I mean, the Falcon 10X is basically a penthouse apartment that flies. Simple as that. It's designed to have the widest and tallest cabin in its entire class. We're talking more room side to side and more headroom than any of its rivals, which creates this feeling of openness and comfort that's, well, it's just in a league of its own.
Okay, now look at how the 10X stacks up against the competition. In terms of speed and range, it's right there with the other heavyweights. It can fly you from New York to Shanghai, no problem. But look at that first line, cabin width. At 9 feet 1 inch, it's all by itself. And in this market where every single inch is fought over, that extra space is an absolute game changer. It means you can do so much more with the interior.
This plane is slated to start flying in 2027, and it's building on the success of its awesome siblings like the award-winning Falcon 6X. But it's more than just an update. The 10X is the absolute latest in aerodynamics, new materials, and digital flight controls. And where did all that tech come from? Yep, perfected on the battlefield and handed down directly from its fighter jet cousins.
But you know, building a revolutionary jet like this is really only half the battle. What Dassault is also doing is engineering the entire world around the plane. They're making sure these incredible machines are supported, that they're sustainable, and that they keep getting better for years and years.
And this really shows you their long-term thinking. They're not just selling you a plane and waving goodbye. They're signing up for a partnership. That means a huge global support network, big investments in things like sustainable aviation fuel, and even using AI to make the planes safer and more efficient. And with over €1 billion poured into R&D, you know they're not sitting still. They are always pushing to see what's next.
And behind all of this amazing digital design and forward thinking, you have this: pure industrial power. These are the advanced factories where those digital twins become real physical aircraft, and they're built with that exact same military-grade precision we've been talking about. That's how you get the quality you need to compete and win at the very top of the global market.
So, let's recap the big takeaways here. First, remember that Dassault is more than just a company. It's a pillar of French strategic independence. Second, that tough, battle-tested military DNA is baked into every single Falcon jet. Third, they kicked off the whole digital design revolution that we all now take for granted. And finally, the Falcon 10X, well, it's the masterpiece. It's the culmination of a century of all that incredible experience.
And that leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about. Dassault exists in this totally unique space, right at the crossroads of national defense and private luxury, battlefield toughness and boardroom comfort. So when you take that kind of military precision, that obsession with performance and reliability, and you point it at creating the ultimate luxury experience, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What on earth are they going to dream up next?